What is something you can no longer enjoy due to a bad experience? Cliff jumping. Bit part of my tongue off because I accidentally had my mouth open after realizing I was making a beeline towards a large rock. Thankfully I missed it by about 2 to 3 feet, but that nub of my tongue did not survive. Luckily it grew back because the chip was barely small enough to where it could heal. Extremely lucky things didn't end up worse for me that day, but you can rest assured I'm never doing that again. It sounds like biting your tongue is a relatively good injury considering what could have happened. Any pre-prepared food with any kind of shellfish. When I was 8 I had a bowl of cream of crab soup that didn't have a piece of shell removed. Had rectal bleeding and minor surgery for a small hole. Never gonna trust it again. Chili. One night I ate it for dinner and later threw it up in bed. To this day I don't know my reasoning, but in my drowsy state I decided to just go back to sleep, and I woke up laying in a mix of vomit, chunks of meat, and beans. Forbidden breakfast. Orange Gatorade. That's my go-to flu or food poisoning drink. It ruins it for me outside of that. Yellow Gatorade is my health potion of choice. I enjoy just a beverage, especially when I'm really thirsty. You may not remember this, but Gatorade used to be saltier. They put less salt in and added more sugar. I used to love, when I was kid, buying a lemonade flavored Gatorade at the gas station. Glass bottle too. They still make lemonade Gatorade I think, but it's a rare find. If you're ever bored, mix yellow Gatorade with the light blue one. It turns green and is quite tasty. In middle school they sold the 3 primary colors, and me being in art class I found out how to mix all 3 into different colors. So I resold them at 1.50 while the school sold them at 1.25. What are you today? Scrooge McDuck. Apple juice. Spent too much time in hospitals growing up, and every meal was served with apple juice. Same. I used to love apple juice, but hospitals just ruined it for me. I gotta have 2 more procedures this year, and I hope they don't shove a pink cup of it in my face immediately after I wake up. Why don't they just stick with plain old water? Don't wanna risk ruining water for you as well though. Probably had electrolytes your body needs to recover, and orange juice might be too acidic. What they need is Brawndo. It's got electrolytes. Jumping on trampolines, just because I tore my ACL 3 times. Edit, not at the same place. I first tore my ACL in 2nd grade at school, then 6th grade, right after the California wildfires, then a few months ago, when I got home from lifting buckets. All of them was painful, but the last time I was able to walk after a week. Jesus Christ, please stay the hell away from trampolines. Yes. I swear I almost broke my neck on a trampoline once. That's probably a little dramatic lol, but I remember falling off the trampoline, and I hit the ground head first. I couldn't move, and my whole body was buzzing from the neck down, but I was able to get up eventually. About 2 years ago I was at a trampoline park and I snapped my shin completely in half. Both bones. I've never gotten on a trampoline since. Neighbor kid broke both legs on another neighbor's trampoline. He had one also. That kid started jumping on his own as soon as he was able to. Good that he was able to bounce back quickly. The sea. I used to love swimming all day, but one day I almost drowned when I was a kid. It was never the same afterwards. Georgia Minister. Had a really bad experience once. If I even just smell black licorice my mouth will start to salivate, like I'm going to vomit Exorcist style everywhere. Yup, 2006 jajabums. Used to love chicken tikka. Our ex-co-worker went through a period of not washing for several days at a time and the smell was really close to chicken tikka. The smell of chicken tikka now makes me feel sick. The only solution is to kill and eat your former coworker. This is the way. Fake cherry smell. I can do cherry candies, but the air freshener type cherry scent triggers the worst visceral reaction. I start sweating, heart races, and I immediately start prepping to throw up. When I was 5 I had to have a tonsillectomy. It was in the early 90s, and they knocked you out with gas. Because I was a kid, they let me pick the backquote flavor of kids masks. The nurse who prepped me for surgery probably thought I wouldn't remember, but she smashed the mask over my nose and mouth, and held me down while I struggled until the gas knocked me out. There have only been a few times where I've smelled that again, and I react the same way every time. Banana for me. How traumatic. Bubble gum for me. I had bubble gum and a doctor who didn't anesthetize properly, which I learned when I finally went to a real dentist, and it didn't fucking hurt. Said doctor also called me a wuss for saying it hurt. Hot dogs. 15-hour flight. 3 days of food poisoning. I cannot eat hot dogs or plain food under any circumstance. A hot dog on a plane has bad idea written all over it. Eggo waffles. Ate them every morning before late elementary and middle school. I was never a morning person, so shoving frozen waffles covered in butter and maple syrup at 6 AM while horribly underslept was never enjoyable. And now I can't eat them because I flash back to the general feeling of dread from every morning. I can still feel the knots in my stomach. And now I can't eat them because I flash back to the general feeling of dread from every morning. I can still feel the knots in my stomach. That's why I don't like the smell of coffee. Makes me think of getting up both for school as well as a terrible job I had for a while. Playing the violin. I was in 6th grade and just started to learn the violin. My family didn't make much, but my mom saved some money to rent a violin for me. I go to the class and the teacher was under the impression that I knew the basics, which I didn't. I did take a class before this one, but I didn't learn much from it, probably cause I was a crazy kid. So I try to tell the teacher that I have no idea where the notes on the violin are, but he just didn't get it. Then we get a quiz where we have to play the scale, and one by one each student plays it, and he remarks after each one, "Good job, A+. Now it's my turn. I tried my best, but I couldn't do it." My teacher said, "Well, that was not good," and continued on. Needless to say, I joined choir the next day. Apple cider. Drank too much once and threw up. Whenever I drank apple cider after that point it makes me feel nauseous as I can never forget that taste. Grim stuff. Strawberry Pop-Tarts. That's the only thing we had besides MREs on an outpost in Afghanistan for a month. I can't look at one without feeling sick. Omelets. I ate one while somewhat nauseous as a 6-year-old. Immediately had to be sick. Now I can't even handle the scent of them. Roller coasters with loops, but specially untamed at Canobie Lake Park. Went on it 3 years ago and leaned forward on the loop. The momentum caused me to hit my head on the shoulder harness and black out for a few seconds. The concussion after that was brutal. Taco soup. This lady made it for us, but found out later she has horrible cooking habits like cross-contaminating cooked chicken and shredding it on the same board you had it raw, or using long expired taco seasoning, and who knows what else. I got food poisoning and puked it all up. The horrible smell, I can just think about and get nauseated. Thankfully I can still eat regular tacos, but taco seasoning outside of actual tacos I cannot do. To be fair, any type of seasoning that consists of just mixed herbs and spices won't go bad in the sense that it will make you ill. It's just the flavors diminish over time. I was gonna say expired seasoning. Haha. One particular female name. I used to love it. Always thought I'd name my daughter this name if I had one. Then a woman with this name tried to start an affair with my, thankfully oblivious, husband. Sent him provocative photos under the guise of "Do you think guys like these types of photos from women?" Asked him what he liked in bed and how she just happened to love those same things, etc. It ruined the name for me. It makes me irrationally angry every time I hear that name now, which makes me even more mad because I loved the name for so long. Any type of food that looks like it should be soft or mushy. X. Mashed potatoes. Because too many times I've taken a bite and been met with something not soft or mushy hiding inside. Seriously, it makes my heart race just thinking about it. I feel this with meatballs or nuggets because I've found cartilage in them before. Now I have to mush them before attempting to eat because even cutting them up could yield tiny sized bits. One time I had Wendy's chicken sandwich while driving. Not safe, I know. Took the first bite and it was an entire mouthful of cartilage. I had to pull over. Going out and having a drink alone. Got drugged. Almost died. Now I only drink if I'm at home. Holy fuck, that's brutal. I'm sorry that happened to you. Pink Floyd. Which super crushes me. An abusive ex was super into them. I'll try again in a few years. Yeah, I used to listen to them in the peak of my substance abuse, and I can't listen to them and other artists without it being a trigger. When I was 15 I decided one night, when I was bored and alone, to eat at the French restaurant near my house. This was the first time I'd been to a proper restaurant without my parents, so I was sort of excited. Everything was going well until the waiter asked if I would like a bread roll with my entree. Being new to this sort of thing and not exactly flush with cash, I asked, "Is it free?" Well, it was like I called his grandma a whore, because he got really angry and launched into a big speech, swinging his arms everywhere about how nothing is free in life, blah blah blah. I finished my meal there, but I've never eaten at a French restaurant since. If invited out to one I make excuses. In every French restaurant I've been to, in the UK and France anyway, the bread before the main course comes is complimentary. But, geez, you were 15 years old, you should be asking questions and learning about the world. The waiter was a J***K. Yeah, even for an adult that's a reasonable question, considering how often bread is complimentary. One of the better coffee shops in my town. I went there on a date with a guy in high school, then was assaulted by him in the parking lot. Watch any Godzilla movie. When I was 8 years young my mother rented the movie Godzilla that I was waiting for months to see. She played the movie and leave the room. She went out to buy groceries. Turns out it wasn't Godzilla, it was hardcore porno movie that the renter misplaced, and I watched the first half confused because I thought at some point I was going to see Godzilla. Then my mother came back from the store and realized what happened. She went back to the movie store to storm it, I believe. Just think of the poor guy that went to the same video store to cop some beat off material, gets all the way home, and pops the tape into his VCR and Godzilla comes on. Mama didn't raise a quitter. Orange soda. When I was pregnant I had to do a glucose test. I needed to drink this orange drink. It tasted like straight orange syrup. It was the worst. Now anytime I taste orange soda it's all I can think of. Most of the Taco Bell menu, when I mixed it with copious amounts of alcohol and later found it on my back porch. I'm glad my drunk ass never ordered anything I actually liked. Alcohol and cigarettes. My dad beat me so hard one time while smelling of alcohol and cigarettes that occasionally the smell of either brings back that memory of lying on the bed broken and bleeding. Edit. Thanks for caring all. It was a long time ago, and I'm okay now. Thank you for watching Reddit Studio. Subscribe and leave a like please.